change. It can't just stop there because there's still a vacuum. You know, there's something that needs to be fulfilled. So this is where the fatality of the film walks in, which is a theme that I'm very fascinated by.
What was the theme?
Just the idea of a fatality in a film. Like, things have been set up before the character even got in. So there's an inevitable fate that they have to go through. There's like, it's a very I wouldn't say pessimistic, but like I find it very fascinating that it is supposed to be operatic. You know, like, things are supposed to be operatic and you should be self-aware that you're in an opera. You know what I mean? When you're looking at a film.
So when you're saying you should be self-aware about that, so how do you cue the viewer that they should be self-aware?
I don't know. It's very complicated. Because you can't tell them, and I mean, at the end of the day, not everybody's going to appreciate it, but it's like it's part of the process, you know.
So what do you think in your film is doing that is doing what you have to do with all of the tools that you have to do, which includes whatever the form is, whatever the color, position, timing, all of the above, everything that you have in terms of how you present something to the viewer, how you cueing them. This is the direction that I want you to go.
How are you cueing them?
Because you're not telling them, you don't have subtitles or arrows that say, look here, look this,
Mm-hmm.
you know. You're not giving them a manifesto where you believe that, you know, there should be an operatic determinism.
Ideally, but it feels like it has to be natural, you know, like.
What do you mean natural?
It has to just be the way it's presented. And people are so preoccupied with what it is that's being presented that it just flows like water in the backstage. It's not something that, I guess, I'm aware of it, and it's like, at this point, it's no longer a modern or a original thought to be self-aware that you're making a film. We've already passed that. Like, maybe in the 90s or whatever, it could have been really brilliant for someone to go like, hey, I'm in a film, you know, like, look at me, I'm in a film. But now, it's like, with all these cameras that are filming cameras and everybody's under so you know, like, we're being in this world where we're constantly being recorded, and there's like this paranoia developing. It's not like a statement to do this anymore. So I think we've reached a point now where we've actually moved to a point where it's second nature. You know, the idea that you are everything is a cliche of a cliche. Like, that's why films like Tarantino films are doing so well. Because people are like, oh yeah, I get that. It's like he's taking a bit of this, he's taking a bit of that. They're like packaged concepts that film have cultivated in the human psyche, and he's juggling with it like a cook. You know, and that's what's great about his era. You know, and he's the first one who actually just uses it as second nature. It's not like this thing where you're presenting it as a criticism or anything. So what I mean is that at this point, maybe I'm the one who wasn't clear, because it's the language of the film, but it's not necessarily a statement of the film. That everything is there's a determinist. There's an idea that things are supposed to. Everything's falling into a funnel, and like there's no other way but this, because they're contained in a film. And completely different, but still an example that speaks to the same thing, is the short sequences. Like, there's a lot of short span narratives going on right now. Like, if you look at like David O'Reilly's work, it's like cuts, or then you go back to something that you saw a bit before. So there's like this instant gratification. It's a machine. You know, it's like a very well calculated narrative for you to show something, then cut to something else. I'm sure like there's probably studies about how much seconds someone is willing to give for a specific narrative. And then there's the reward of recognizing it again 5 seconds through, 5 minutes through the film. Like, oh yeah, that cat, I saw it 5 minutes ago. And you're creating like so that's also one of those tools that are being used in animation as well as in film.
So one of the things that you're working on is this expectation that people set up if they've seen it,
Yeah.
you know, and then they'll see it again. But at the end of your film, so that it becomes a coherent, you know, it's one film.
Yeah.
Right? But you know, it has these. You parse it out in such a way so that the viewer will understand the expectation in terms of your style,
Yeah.
all of the above, all of your tools, and how do you deal with the opposite of expectation with novelty and surprising them? Are you conscious of that, or which sequences were done?
Yeah. Good question. Since the aesthetic is such it embraces the nature of things, like, you know, like the ear is very, like, it's a very well defined object, and you celebrate the human body in a way, although you're not supposed to appreciate it. You're still, it's subliminal. You're actually, everything has its not its proportion, but it has its texture. Like you celebrate the pores of the skin and everything about it. So you're feeling you're going to be in a very serious situation where it's going to be a film. You're going to have like this music and someone thinking about what happened, but then next thing you know, the husband starts kissing the fan, and you have this sound, you know, and then in the morning you hear the rooster. So you realize like the film is quite lighthearted, you know. So I think that's how I'm going to be working with the expectation. Best example is the scene with the train that's moving like a caterpillar. You know, like you have this very like rugged, dark place. You know, like there's ashes everywhere, and like you feel like we're going to be talking about like the factories and all that, and we are. But we're like at this point, it's a zipped format thing. It's been talked about so much. Like I'm taking all these films that deal with the subject of World War II, but they've already talked about it already. So I mean, I'm really just hijacking that landscape.
It's funny that you said World War II, because I don't see World War II. I see
That's
World
great.
War One.
That's great. That's how uninformed the world is anymore. Like, it doesn't matter, right?
Okay, yeah. No.
You know, it's like I put a plane that's from World War One, yet there's factories that are specific to Eastern Europe, to like eras of the. I mean, I'm looking back at one of the cities where I go often in Bulgaria, and like it's a very Cold War environment. So it's after the war, and right, there's like the 50s as well. So I mean, yeah, you know, it's such a. Like, unfortunately, my generation knew about Star Wars before they knew about like the reality of history. So I think that's something I'm talking about as well. The fact that everything's dislocated and kind of put together, and it's like these little toys. You have this plane, and you have the train as well, and the proportions aren't even, you know, respectful, because the plane just goes into the house and then it comes back out. You know, like.
Would you say that the notion of dislocation goes into your understanding of what a dream is, or dream reality?
No, actually, I specifically can answer that question, because I've always felt like I can just